China, a land of ancient emperors, celestial dynasties, and timeless traditions. For over 2,000 years, imperial families ruled this vast civilization. But among them all, one dynasty would rise like a dragon, expand its power across continents, glitter in golden glory, and then collapse under the weight of its own mistakes. This is the story of the last dynasty of China, the Qing Dynasty. Its violent beginnings, its rise, its decay, and its dramatic fall. The year is 1644. The Ming Dynasty, once mighty, has been devoured by famine, corruption, and rebellion. Hungry peasants roam the countryside, officials steal, and soldiers are unpaid. In Beijing, as rebels surround the capital, the last Ming emperor climbs a lonely hill behind the Forbidden City. He writes a final note apologizing for his failure and ends his life beneath a twisted tree. The empire has crumbled. But while Beijing descends into chaos, a new force waits outside the Great Wall. The Manchus, warriors from the icy northeast, ride with unmatched discipline. They are not Han Chinese. Their culture, their hairstyles, their language, everything about them is different. When a desperate Ming general opens the gates, the Manchu army pours into China like a storm. They defeat the rebels, seize Beijing, and proclaim a new dynasty, the Great Qing. Their rule begins with violence. Entire cities resist the foreign conquerors. Men refuse to adopt the Manchu hairstyle, a shaved forehead with a long braided queue. The Qing decree is simple. Keep your hair, lose your head. Keep your head, cut your hair. Those who disobey are executed. Across China, rivers turn red with rebellion. But slowly, brutally, the Qing establish control. And then, something unexpected happens. After the bloodshed, the Qing do not destroy China, they build it. 3 emperors, Kangxi, Yongzheng, and Qianlong, lift the empire to heights unseen. Kangxi, a brilliant warrior scholar, stabilizes the land, defeats powerful enemies, and restores peace. Yongzheng, strict and relentless, crushes corruption and strengthens the government. And then comes Qianlong, wise, cultured, charismatic. Under his reign, China reaches its golden age. Territories expand across Central Asia, Mongolia, Tibet, and Taiwan. Trade flourishes. Arts, calligraphy, and poetry bloom. The population grows into the hundreds of millions. China becomes the richest nation on earth. But even in the glow of prosperity, shadows spread. One of the darkest chapters emerges during Qianlong's reign, the extermination of the Dzungars, a Mongolian tribe resisting Qing rule. The emperor sends massive armies west. Villages are surrounded and burned. Men are executed. Women and children die from disease, starvation, or enslavement. Historians call it a genocide, a people nearly erased from history. Qianlong's empire grows, but so does its burden. As the 18th century fades, the glory of the Qing becomes an illusion. Corruption seeps into every level of government. Tax collectors cheat the poor. Officials sell positions and pocket the profits. Floods destroy farmland. Famines erupt. Peasants starve as the court in Beijing celebrates with endless feasts. The emperor is told everything is fine, but the empire is rotting. Meanwhile, far across the ocean, Europe transforms. Factories thunder, cannons improve, steamships conquer the seas. But China closes its doors, convinced it needs nothing from outsiders. The Qing live in a bubble of old beliefs, a dangerous bubble that is about to burst. The British want Chinese tea. China wants nothing from Britain, so the British find something China will take: Opium, a drug, a poison. By the early 1800s, millions of Chinese are addicted. Families fall apart. Workers abandon their fields. Silver drains from the treasury. The empire trembles. Finally, one man rises to fight the crisis. Lin Zexu. Honest, fearless, unbribable. He confiscates opium from foreign traders and destroys it by the ton. The British respond with cannons. The First Opium War begins. British warships, powered by steam and steel, tear through China's wooden fleets. Coastal cities fall. Soldiers panic. The Qing, armed with outdated weapons, are overwhelmed. In 1842, China signs the Treaty of Nanjing, the first of many humiliating agreements. Britain takes Hong Kong. Foreigners gain privileges. China pays massive fines. The world sees China as weak, and hungry wolves begin to gather. But China's suffering has only begun. In 1850, a failed scholar named Han Shu-Quan has visions. He believes he is the brother of Jesus Christ. He rallies millions who are desperate, starving, angry. What begins as a spiritual movement becomes the Taiping Rebellion, the deadliest civil war in human history. Cities burn, families are massacred, entire regions become wastelands. By the end, between 20 to 30 million people are dead. An empire the size of Europe has become a graveyard. Just as the rebellion weakens, another storm hits. The Western powers, Britain, France, and others, demand more rights. The Qing refuse. War breaks out again. Foreign troops march into Beijing. They loot the capital, plunder treasures, and burn the magnificent summer palace, a jewel of Chinese culture, to ashes. The humiliation is unbearable. China must pay again. More ports are opened. More rights are surrendered. The Qing are bleeding. By the end of the 1800s, desperation turns to rage. A violent secret movement rises, the Boxers. They believe foreign influence is destroying China. They attack Christians, missionaries, and foreigners. The Qing court secretly supports them, thinking this might save the dynasty. But 8 powerful nations join forces: Britain, France, Germany, Russia, Japan, the US, Italy, and Austria-Hungary. Their armies invade China, crushing the Boxers. Beijing is captured, looting spreads. China is forced to pay one of the largest reparations in history. This is another crack, another fracture in the dying dynasty. And now comes the final act. In 1908, the emperor dies, and the throne is given to a child, Puyi, a boy barely 2 years old. Inside the Forbidden City, he plays with toys, unaware of the collapsing world outside. Government reforms come too late. The military is divided. People want change. Provincial leaders demand independence. Revolution spreads like wildfire. The Qing court can no longer hold the empire together. In 1911, the Wuchang Uprising ignites the Xinhai Revolution. Provinces declare they are done with imperial rule. The Qing army splinters. Rebels march. The dynasty panics. By 1912, there is no empire left to save. The Qing beg the last regent to negotiate. And on a cold February day, the last emperor of China, the child Puyi, signs a document that ends over 2,000 years of monarchy. With a single stroke of the brush, the Qing dynasty collapses. The Forbidden City falls silent. The dragon emperors fade into history. What remains is a broken nation, weakened, divided, humiliated, but ready to be reborn. From the ashes of the Qing would rise the Republic of China. and later a new nation that would reshape the modern world. But everything began with the fall, the tragic, powerful, unstoppable fall of the Qing Dynasty. And that is the story of the last empire of China. A story of glory and corruption, brilliance and arrogance, expansion and decay. An empire that rose with fire and ended with silence.